What's going on YouTube? Graylan Stewart here again with another video. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you don't know me already, if you haven't seen my content, I'm a virtual wholesaler. So this channel is all about wholesaling, and I just try to tell you the truth and the real, the real things about wholesaling without the fluff and without all the side agendas. So I'm not a guru or a coach or anything like that. Just telling you real life experiences through what we do in our business every day. I do real estate full time, so everything I tell you is truth and what we actually do and apply in our everyday business. So that being said, please subscribe, and if you like this video, please like it. I'd appreciate that. If you don't like the video, I'm okay with the thumbs down as well. So give me some comments if there's any questions that you might have, or if you have any other ideas about what this video is or otherwise. So anyway, let's get into it. So today's video, I'm just going to talk about consistency, because in my opinion, consistency in your business is everything. So in other videos, obviously I do talk about taking action is the biggest thing that you can do when you're a wholesaler, and for that matter, when you're an entrepreneur in general, right? Because there's a lot of people that just talk about it, or maybe someday I'll do this, or they're learning about things forever. The whole analysis paralysis thing, learning forever and ever and never do anything about it. So, what good is that knowledge if you don't apply it, right? So, but at the same time, when you take action, you can't just stop there. You got to be consistent in the action you're taking, okay? So, pertaining to wholesaling, for example, when you first start learning about wholesaling, obviously you want to know the basics and have a general idea of what you're doing. So don't get me wrong, but whenever you're learning, you can learn as you do. Okay, is kind of the point. But no matter what you do in your business, when you start wholesaling and you're going along, kind of doing the things that it takes, you're getting the lists, or you're doing some type of marketing to bring inbound leads in, or you're doing some kind of outbound marketing, whatever the case is, you got to do those things consistently, right? Because leads are the blood flow of your business, whether you're in wholesaling or just general real estate or any type of business at all, okay? I don't care if you have a flower shop or whatever business that you have, leads are the blood flow of your business. So marketing and advertising is, I would argue, probably most important, okay? As far as adjectives go, action words, taking action is the biggest thing you can do. But the type of action you do as far as doing marketing, that's super important, because without leads, you don't get deals. Without deals, you're not getting checks. So without checks, you don't have a business, right? Okay, so consistency is key, okay? So, and I'm not just talking about in marketing. I'm talking about in your lead follow-up, doing that all the time, not just, okay, I'm feeling good and I want to get a couple things done. For example, I have a friend that he's an excellent wholesaler. He doesn't really have a wholesaling company, but he's just an individual wholesaler, which is what the majority are, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is he's not consistent in anything that he does. He's not consistent in the time that he wakes up every day. He's not consistent in sticking to a healthy diet. He's not consistent in marketing to get wholesale deals. He's not consistent in getting paid. That's the bottom line. Just inconsistent in every way you could think of is the problem. So yeah, if you just do this as a side hustle and you want to get a couple of deals a year, great. You don't have to necessarily be consistent. You do still have to take massive action, obviously. Because it still takes action and a bunch of things to line up to get that deal. So you do have to do that. But if you really want to make a business out of wholesaling real estate, you have to take consistent action. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, so if it's lists that you're pulling, obviously you don't have to pull tons of lists all the time. I'm still using the same list from 2.5 years ago. Obviously I do still pull new lists because those lists change. People add on to those lists, and depending on the type of list it is, if it's evictions or something like that, obviously those are probably done every month typically, but things like that. But for the majority of the lists that most people target, You can pull it once a year in a lot of cases, maybe every 6 months at the most. So anyways, but even that though, just staying consistent on that, if you know that you have a list, let's just say evictions, and you got to pull it every month, and let's just say you skip 3 or 4 months and then you pull it again, that's not being consistent. So that's exactly what I'm talking about by consistent action. If you know that list needs to be pulled every month, do it every month. If it's every 6 months, do it every 6 months. Whatever it takes, you don't have to have some fancy CRM to remind you or anything like that. Keep it on a notepad, keep it on your calendar, on your iPhone, or whatever it is, just to remind yourself to make sure that you do that, okay? Whatever it takes to have you held accountable to yourself is what you have to do, okay? So you got the list. So what are you going to do with that list? So if you're marketing that with direct mail, obviously you need to schedule that out to where you're mailing those every 4 to 6 weeks or whatever your model is, and you got to do that consistently 3, 4, 5 times in a row, okay? You can't do it one time and then you forget and 6 months goes by and you try to do it again. You're probably not going to get great results, okay? Because consistency in marketing is probably more important than anything, because not every time you'll get results from the first thing that you do. You got to do it again so you can stay top of mind for sellers, okay? So let's say you're cold calling. Yeah, you might cold call 50 to 100 people a day, and if your list is 5,000 people, and then you stop doing that after 4 or 5 days, well, you only reached, a few hundred people, and then what about the rest of your list? You weren't consistent, okay? You're seeing a theme here. Everything you do, you have to be consistent. Even if you get a bunch of deals, then all of a sudden you got paid on one, and then you still got 2 or 3 deals that are that you maybe have locked up, but you haven't found a buyer because you're kind of content with the check you just got, and you're not really in a big hurry. Then you end up losing the deal because you ran out of time, or you just didn't work hard enough. That's the same thing. Consistency is key. Okay. And then if you're doing any type of marketing it is, whether it's Facebook, pay-per-click, whatever you're doing, do it consistently. Okay. So not only that though, but follow up. Okay. If you followed up every day, you can just choose. If you've got a couple of hundred leads in your pipeline, that doesn't mean all couple of hundred of those are necessarily super motivated to sell, but at the same time, they're in your pipeline for a reason, most likely. So it's important to follow up those people consistently, because you might follow up for, every week for a while on certain, sellers or leads, and then you stop for 3 or 4 weeks. In the meantime, somebody else is probably calling on those people or sending them direct mail or pay-per-click ads or, all these different things, or they're hearing the ads on the radio or seeing it on Facebook or whatever the means is. The point is, it's all about timing on most of these sellers, okay? Those 200 people might all be solid leads, but maybe you only get 2 or 3 of those today because they're just not ready. So you have to meet them where they are when they're ready, which means you have to be top of mind as a wholesaler or as a company, because if you're not top of mind, somebody else will. So you could do all the work, spend all the money on advertising, follow up 5 to 10 times even, and you don't get them, and then you give up. Well, you might have did all the groundwork for another wholesaler coming along, a week later, that you already set the groundwork and now they're ready, and you're not following up again. So this other wholesaler got lucky because you did the work for them. And I've seen that happen time and time again. That happened a lot. If you've seen my channel much, I was in the Yellow Page industry for years, and that happened a lot in that business. People would follow people over and over to these mom and pop businesses trying to sell them a Yellow Page ad, and then I always worked hard every single day, so I happened to walk into the business and talk to them. Somebody else has already planted the seed and kind of did all that groundwork, and then after two times I've talked to them, maybe I close them. But a good example in my actual business, for my wholesaling business, is this. We were doing this lead. We had this lead as a direct mail lead from about 1.5 years ago, and we followed up like crazy. My acquisition manager, I looked back on the timeline. They followed up every week or two consistently for almost a year. But then all of a sudden they kind of gave up on it. They're like, okay, this lady's never going to sell. So they kind of closed out the lead to where, we call it closed lost. That means we just lost the deal, because they wouldn't reply or whatever it is. First of all, you should never give up. I want us to follow up until they sell to us or they hate us, right? So she didn't do that. They didn't sell to us and they didn't hate us yet. she stopped following up on her own will. Anyways, literally like a week and a half later, one of my buddies calls me from a different market, and he's like, hey, I know you wholesale a lot in this market. Can you move this deal for me? So I was like, sure, we can. He sent me the address, and I'm like, man, this sounds really familiar, because I remember my acquisition manager talking to me about this lead. So sure enough, I looked at it. We stopped following up about 2 or 3 weeks prior, and this was the exact same lead. We actually did all the groundwork and all the hard work, basically talked the seller into selling at the price that we need to buy it at, and they ended up locking it up at the same price that we needed to buy it at. So basically that was a $15,000 deal, that our acquisition person didn't get paid on, because they sent it to me to move. I was doing dispo at the time. Our company got half of the fee, but acquisitions got nothing because they didn't follow up. And I told them about that, and they were kind of mad at first, but not mad at me or mad at the other wholesaler that locked it up, just mad at themselves because they gave up too fast. So the moral of the story is, be consistent on everything that you do, whether it's leads, your follow-up, if you're cold calling, if you're driving for dollars, whatever you're doing, if you're having to data scrape your and kind of get your spreadsheets right and all those different things, whatever you do it all the time, every day, because that's what really turns wholesaling as a side hustle into an actual business. When you take massive, consistent action every day, and then after you master that action that you're doing on whatever part of your business you're doing, that's when you can start hiring and actually delegate those things to other people. But before then, you can't delegate that if you don't know how to do it yourself, and if you're not consistent yourself, because how can you coach that and teach that to your employees if you don't know how to do it yourself? So there you go. Hope this information was beneficial to you. If you have any ideas of other videos you want me to make or would like me to do, please drop a comment and let me know. I'd love to do it. Hopefully you like this video. Please give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate a subscribe if you like it, and definitely hit the notification bell. We do upload a couple times a week, so that way you'll be notified when we do new uploads. And I've done a few interviews over the last year at least, but there was, I'm going to start probably posting some of those just so you guys can see. I'm always a work in progress. We all are. I'm by no means some big shot or anything like that. I'm the little guy out there just trying to make it. We do a decent amount. Obviously, we do 10 to 12 deals a month, which is cool. But never satisfied. Always trying to grow and do better. So that's our goal. Trying to keep on growing and keep doing more. And it's all about profits you make, not the top line. It's the bottom line that you're taking home. So anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.